Taste Holdings has investments in two main divisions, a jewellery platform under the NWJ brand and a food division under the Scooters Pizza, Maxi's and the Fish and Chips Co. Taste Holdings has a market cap of 509 million rand, a price to earnings ratio of 21 and a dividend yield of 1.5%. And of course we're speaking about Taste because of the national wholesale jewellers element falling into the luxury brand side of things.
Yeah, the pizza division is not the luxury goods operation.
No, we couldn't quite make that connection.
So, I mean, but it's a nice business. So basically Taste listed in 07, I think it was, at around R1. Very young, dynamic management team, Carlo Gonzaga at the helm. So that was the initial foray. Then somebody convinced them to acquire National Wholesale Jewelers from Hilton Rabinowitz. And that's a business which has got a whole bunch of stores around the country. Quite good. I think they're the number 2 or 3. And they manufacture jewelry, simple, basic chains and other cut stones and so on. So that's the business division. They remain involved and invested in that. They've done much more in terms of acquiring additional food brands. So they bought Maxi's and St. Elmo's, and they're currently trying to buy the Fish and Chip Company. But the jewelry business kicks in a solid amount of revenues and a solid amount of profits every year. And as you can see from the chart, they had the same calamitous collapse.
Only wish you had owned it here in
Well, I guess you could have seen it coming because, you know, in 2009-10, everybody was still recovering from the disastrous sort of after effects of the listing boom and how badly everybody had done. But they hung in there and continued to work hard, and they're seeing the rewards now.
Of course, the question is, as shareholders, do you continue to hang in there if you own it at current levels?
Well, I mean, I think earnings were up 17% in the last year, somewhere around there. And if you look at the share price, it's up, I think, more than 100%. So, you know,
potential for more upside, a little thin.
You know, already on a 21p. I mean, certainly it looks like a great business model. Franchises out all of its stores, so it owns a few of the NWJ stores, but most of the stores are franchised out. I know it's got a bit of, I think management might lose a bit of focus now with this fight over Fish and Chips Co, because they bought it, they thought they owned it. Now the selling party wants to annul the agreement. And
whenever I interview the CEO on their results, I always find that National Wholesale Jewelers a little bit of a misfit in the fast food company.
Well, the argument is that if you're in the franchising business, it doesn't really matter what the underlying businesses are doing, because you're doing centralized marketing and cash flow management and selling the new franchise outlets to prospective entrepreneurs.
Centralized marketing when it comes to jewelry and fast food, got to be a little bit different.
But look, to be fair to them again, they bought National Wholesale Jewelers for 100 million rand, and they gave the guys about 25 million rands worth of Taste stock. So they hauled the other 75 out of their back pockets. And they haven't made a mess of it. They've continued to operate it successfully, even though the founders then became non-executive directors. And you can often tell with groups that roll up lots of businesses that it works for about 2 years. Then the guys, you know, exclusivity period expires and they head out the door and everything goes down the drain. So to be fair to Carlo and his team, I think the reason the share price has run up so hard is because that Fish and Chip Company acquisition looked like an absolute winner, because the price they were paying for it and the number of stores and the sales and the profits made it look like the juiciest acquisition ever. Now, unfortunately, they're fighting with the sellers around issues of whether money that was paid by prospective franchisees that not yet opened was due to them, or whether they bought that as well. So it's a bit awkward, but they're now having a bit of a litigation around that.
Jonathan, hot or not on Taste?
I just think its multiple is run too far and its multiple's too high, so not hot.
Hot or not on Taste, Paul?
Look, it's too small, so it can't be a hot in terms of my rule of thumb, you know. It's only about 500 million market cap. But I think it is potentially, with a talented management team, one to watch for the future. But for the moment, avoid not hot.